What's good, YouTube? Crown Jewel from Crown Jewel Boxing, back with a gem. Had to come on and respond to the big card on last night. Teofimo Lopez versus Jamaine Ortiz. And of course, the coming out party of Keyshawn Davis against Jose Pedraza. We're gonna start with Teofimo Lopez. He came out, he had this whole gimmick about being the ringmaster. I guess he's looking to take his performance to the next level, be more marketable. And my response to that is, you had the right industry, wrong profession. Because Teofimo Lopez is a clown, not a ringmaster, but a clown. We all heard his controversial statements last week when he talked about when he insulted Puerto Rican fighters and they're easy to beat, the blah, 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 blah. And me being of Puerto Rican descent, Puerto Rican and African-American, I took exception to that, but not too much because I consider the source again, and I've known this guy to be a clown for some time, but I didn't want to publicly disrespect this man. But then, after his lackluster performance last night, he starts off the post-fight the post-fight interview in the ring, being braggadocious, which completely turned the crowd off, especially after such a subpar performance. They start to boo him. When they start to boo him, this man on national television tells them to eat a eggplant, for lack of a better way to say it, and then follows that up with how great God is and wants to display how devout of a Christian he is. Again, clown behavior. Again, I'm all for people finding spirituality, believing in a higher power, and doing whatever it is it takes for them to be a better person in general. But what I do not like is people who are posers and use religion as a ploy to gain the affection, the adoration of those who are really about that life. And that seems like more or less what Teofimo Lopez has been doing. In addition to that, this man has taken on this persona of where he wants to come off, I guess, as this philosophical, extremely educated guy who's always looking for something he can say that's maybe thought-provoking or profound. And he fails miserably 90% of the time. Showed up to the press conference, supposedly reading a book by Bruce Lee. I don't buy it. Again, I just think this man's a clown. He spends a bunch of time coming up with, analogies that don't make sense, sayings that don't mean anything, and referencing historical acts where he very rarely makes the mark. He just never really accomplishes saying what he wants to say. It just seems like a big gimmick. And again, I can't find a better way to describe him than to say he's a clown. Just a clown. Then I heard people are giving him passes on his performance. First and foremost, I'm going to come right out and say, Jamaine Ortiz beat him last night. Jamaine Ortiz, I won't call it a robbery because some people, it's subjective. Some people give points for aggression. But in professional boxing, it's supposed to be scored on effective aggression. And Teofimo Lopez was not effective at not one moment in that fight. At all. And even when he went back and tried to invite Jamaine Ortiz to him because he was frustrated because he couldn't cut the ring off, he got beat in those instances too. Beat to the punch every time. So, my man Fanon, I respect you, but you said you don't blame Teofimo Lopez because Jamaine Ortiz wasn't willing to engage. Well, Teofimo Lopez is supposedly a world-class fighter and identifies himself as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, which we all know is not true. Going as far as to say, he wants to fight Bud Crawford, who will completely eat his lunch. And, just thinks of himself a lot more highly than he probably should. Well, one of the most basic skills in boxing is cutting off the ring. And if you are who you say you are, you should have no problem doing that, especially with the level of athleticism that he possesses. So I'm not giving him a pass on that. I don't give a damn how much Jamaine Ortiz was moving. Teofimo Lopez, big, if he was who he say he is, should have been able to cut off the ring and make Jamaine Ortiz stand in front of him and fight, but he could not. Why? Because he's inept. His skills are inadequate. He's not what he's been made out to be. He's not what he professes to be. You better not put him nowhere near a Gervonta Tank Davis, a Shakur Stevenson, or a Devin Haney. All three of them box his ears off, and Tank Davis, I think, concusses him and knocks him out cold. This dude is a fraud. He looks good against guys that he's more athletic than, but when he can't be more athletic, or if a guy is not going to come to him, he looks like complete hot garbage, like he did against Sandor Martin and again last night. Let's not give this guy a pass. He's a clown. Enough of that. That's enough talking about that clown. Now let's highlight the strong suit of the card last night, the coming out party of Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn looked great last night. Now, I know, some people may say Jose Pedraza's not what he once was. I still feel he's a very sturdy opponent. He was definitely the biggest test of Keyshawn Davis's young career. And let's not forget, Keyshawn Davis is coming off a little bit of a controversy in his toughest fight against Philly's Nair Albright, in which he was hurt. We got to see a little bit about his character. And then afterwards, that fight was turned to a no decision because we all know he popped hot for marijuana use. He's since come out and said that he was addicted to marijuana. He's disassociated himself with that, no longer using, and he feels like that's made him a better person and fighter. He's also talked about, his spirituality. And unlike Teofimo Lopez, he seems to be serious about, his devout Christianity and wanting to be a better person and live an upright life. So I give him kudos for that. But he looked absolutely amazing. The only thing I will caution, and I think we need to worry about when it comes to Keyshawn Davis, the young man is brutally honest. And I wanted to do a video about this last week. I just didn't get around to doing it. But I'm scared for that young man. The praise that he's given to PBC and Al Heyman for how they make superstars, the way he critiques ESPN's commentators about being biased. He even checked Timothy Bradley when his bias was in favor of Keyshawn Davis. So the man just seems to be a really upright person and a real person that, stands on principle, and you have to respect that. But as I said about Shakur Stevenson last week, when you say the wrong things or you get on the bad side of these power brokers, i.e. Bob Arum, in boxing, you could be blackballed or put in a very tough situation. So I just think, he may want to be a little more careful or selective in what he says. But I can't help but, respect the fact that he's brutally honest and speaks his mind. Kudos to that young man. So, he's showing himself to be something that's respectable both inside and outside of the ring. But I think we need to remember when we're talking about these commentators, we hold them accountable for the things they say, and rightfully so. But let's not forget, all those commentators wear an earpiece. A lot of people don't know. A lot of that crazy stuff they're saying, especially the bias, is because it's being fed to them from the truck. A lot of those thoughts that they express are not their own. So sometimes you may be speaking out against something that the commentator said, and you may be in direct conflict from the narrative that the network that you're signed to is trying to push, which can put you in a very peculiar situation. So I'm going to say to that, be careful, Keyshawn Davis. And just like the rest of these young fighters, get yourself some media training so that you don't say anything that's going to put you in a pickle when it comes to the business side of things. Because on the other side, inside the ring, you seem to be taking care of business very well. And I think you put the lightweight division on notice, and all those top guys got something to worry about in terms of you. With regards to Teofimo Lopez, you called him out. I see it. Don't worry about that clown. Anheuser-Busch is probably going to pull their sponsorship dollars. He's going to start to see ESPN turn their back on him. As you heard him last night, start to villainize him after that idiotic stuff he said in the post-fight interview. And like I said, I don't feel bad for this man for what he's about to experience, because he's a clown and he just does not know when to shut his mouth and what not to say. Until next time, keep your hands up, your chin down, your ass off the floor. Peace.